Hi everybody, this is Sanchez and welcome to the Truly Rich Club, the Success Mentors Collection. And I am with one of my wisest, one of my best financial business life mentors. His name is Edward Lee. Hi Edward.
Hi brother Bo.
It's an honor that you've graced us and said yes to my invitation. You're such a busy man.
No, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, of course.
Edward is someone who's owns a number of companies and some of them to the tune of worth billions of pesos. But he's here and he's talking to me and is talking to you. And Edward, everybody needs to know this. Number one, you did not inherit your wealth.
Yes.
Your mother was a I'm saying this everybody because I know you so well. Your mother is a school teacher.
That's right.
Your father is a door-to-door salesman. Had no properties, had no businesses, and that you came from that. Also, that you were not good in your school.
That's correct. Also.
And your grades were not well. The only reason why I'm telling your story to everyone now. The reason why you passed was because your mother was a teacher in your school.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes. I think like what we're saying is that what is really important here is that I think it's always God's will that we're here today.
Yes.
But of course, a lot of hard work, a lot of working with a lot of people.
That's right.
The unconditional love of my mother, of my parents, the continuing breakfast meeting that I have with my father, which basically like what you guys are doing right now, which is the homeschooling, which is I think is one of the most important setup that is required, no?
Yeah.
Because of my school, my lack of academic skill.
Yes.
What had really happened was that my father has to spend a lot of time talking to me, encouraging me. And from there, that's where I learned a lot of the experience, his life experience, and that he has shared with me over time.
Yeah.
And of course, the values that was always imparted by our parents, my mom especially, of course. She basically always tells us that we have to do the proper thing.
Yes.
Money is important, but it's not the ultimate solution for everything.
I think just looking at that, it's the amount of time and love that you got from your parents. I think that's crucial. You were telling the story that sometimes you'd sleep in the classroom during your grade school.
That's correct.
And then your mother would come in the room, would pull you out.
Yes. Powdered me up and send me back to sleep.
And you'd go back to the classroom just to sleep.
That's right.
But never once did they condemn you. Did they tell you you're no good? You won't amount to anything. They never said those things.
Yes.
They just said they just cried in front of you.
Of course. A lot of buckets. What really happened is that my parents would always encourage me and would always share with me that it is if a person is smart, he probably spends an hour studying. Well, since I'm always catching up, said I should spend at least 3 hours basically. But never did they discourage me or they scold me that I'm stupid, I'm good for nothing.
That's beautiful.
Which is, I think, one of the most important.
Oh yeah.
Without that, without the encouragement, without the love that they gave me, I doubt if I will be sitting here sharing with a lot of people.
That's right.
What really happened to my life.
Oh yes, absolutely. I think many times I've heard so many children who have grown up under the condemnation of their own parents.
That's correct.
The parents would look down at them. Their parents would call them names. Their parents would tell them you won't amount to anything, and so it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
That's correct. I think that's the sad part. No?
Yes.
A lot of times when we share our experiences, our life experiences with people, I think what is really the most important thing there is that, like in one of your seminars, I talk about they have been that you have carried your child in your stomach for nine months, and then you raised them, and because of lacking time, because you have a job, and the child basically has to go to school without proper guidance, and from there, you expect them to already be able to do. You expect them to be able to do a lot of things which you have not shared with them.
No,
so from there, and then since let's say for example, if they don't they attend their schools and then they're failing grades, then you condemn them already.
Yeah.
Once you do that, it's like you said, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Then they won't be able to be successful.
Great.
Yes.
And then Edward, how did you get into the stock market?
What happened was that since I was always spending most of my time playing bowling, not really attending school.
Cutting classes, in other words, in college.
In college, yes. And of course, I was studying in La Salle, and just a few minutes away, there's a bowling center there. So I spent most of my time playing bowling. And luckily, I met, there was somebody there that was playing bowling also, and I befriended him. I just scored for him. And eventually, I found out that he works for they own a stock brokerage house in the Manila Stock Exchange. And from there, basically, I started looking at it. He was telling me, what they were doing, and shared with me the way how to invest in the stock market. So I started and trying to learn from it.
Wow.
And what really happened was that
you were how old?
I was 18 years old.
18.
1973, yes.
Amazing.
I was 18 years old. It was...
Did it fascinate you the first time? You're like, wow, this is great.
Yes, of course. The fascination was because I was making money at a very young age.
Wow.
And not because of anything, but because it was a bull market during 1973. Okay. Of course, by the time in 1974, when the market starts crashing, since I was not attending school, I was spending most of my time investing in the stock market, trading the stock market. What happened was that I was completely wiped out also.
Okay.
So that was the first experience of being completely wiped out, losing a lot of money. I have to.
How old were you then?
I was 19. I was had to resort to borrowings. My two friends who are my partners today has to bail me out, help me try to restructure, and from there. What really happened was that since I lost a lot of money, I was not attending school, I was kicked out of school. And from there, I have to look for a job, work. Started as 8 pesos a day as a verifier.
I love that
as a key puncher, and as a batcher.
I always believe, Edward, that when we go through our suffering right now, we go through our suffering. We have to have this mindset that says this is just a great story to tell.
That's
when
right.
I become successful.
That's right. I think a lot of challenges in anybody's life. I think there are a lot of challenges, and I think it's how you emotionally being able to use those difficult situations and be more positive about it.
So you were earning 8 pesos a day. You were after you got kicked out from college. And you were an employee.
That's correct. I was working for a computer center in a bank. Afternoon shift.
That's right.
Since we're undergrad, so you do the...
When did you go back to the stock market?
Well, of course, since whatever savings that I have from my monthly salary, then you start doing it again. Investing again. Yes, that's right. So I think the stock market is always it's always have its up and downs. We call it the bull bear cycles. It goes up and it goes down. What is really important is that you try to understand the psychology of it. And from there, very immediate. What you do is that you just use a smaller amount of money that you can afford now instead of borrowing like what I used to do before, and start building and learning again. Wow. I think it's a process that everybody has to go through.
And you went through that process. You learned through your failures. You learned through losing money, and then it's almost like you fine-tuned your system.
Of course. As then before, when you're making money, when there was a bull market, like my professor would always say, is that during bull markets, everybody is great. Everybody makes a lot of money. But when the bear market comes, that's where you separate the men from the boys. So these are the experiences that we have.
That's right.
These are experiences that we have to all go through. The problem with a lot of people is that they don't spend time trying to understand why they fail. I think when they jump into the market, it's because somebody asked them to sell them a story.
Yeah.
And most of the time when people start selling you stories is when the
yes.
market is at its height.
It's when the barber, the taxi driver,
That's correct. That's correct.
your office mate beside you says, "Hey, invest in this stock."
That's
you know,
right.
It's a hot tip.
Yes, that's correct.
That's when everybody
That's
is in the
correct.
stock market. That's when it will start to crash. You know?
Yeah, well,
we don't know, but in a few months or something.
yes. Because what happened is that people talk about it when they're making money.
Yes.
So, but then when you make money, that means the market is at its height, no?
Yes.
It's moving already. It's a bull market.
That's
And
right.
everybody's making money. So that creates the excitement, because people now makes money within the day, within the minute,
Yes.
and within the next day. And so that's where people now, because of the greed, because of they want to be part of it, that creates this bull market that they so-called bull market. Yes.
Wow. That's amazing. Yes. That's amazing. You know, because if people are right now watching us or listening to us, they think that the stock market is a dangerous game.
Yes.
They have never touched it with a 10-foot pole.
Of course.
They only hear of people who've lost their money in the stock market.
Yes.
So they're listening to us now, Edward, and they're asking this question: how can I get into the stock market?
What is the statistics for the stock market is by the end of the bull bear cycle is done. 85% will lose money.
My gosh.
Yes, that is still the whole. It's the statistics still.
Only 15% will earn their money.
That includes the government that get all the taxes, the brokers who basically doesn't invest, just make money on and of course the people who issued the shares of stocks.
Okay.
These are the winners.
Yeah.
All speculators, traders.
Yes.
If they don't understand the psychology of the market.
Yeah.
By the end of the day, when the market collapses, if the bear market comes, 85% will lose money.
Oh my God.
So what we're trying to do now
is,
since the statistic is really, really very low, so what we try to do now is that we're trying to encourage first-time investor really to look to invest in the stock market on a much longer perspective.
Okay.
Because like we were sharing with some of our people, we're talking about the book of Jeremy Siegel, which stocks for the long run. The first thing that it's written there is called everyone ought to be rich.
Yes.
And the method of that is just a pure, simple dollar cost averaging, which we're trying to launch today. It's called the peso cost averaging, so that we can basically teach people how to invest for the long run. No?
That's right.
For their, like what you have been sharing with them, that they have to pay themselves first for their retirement.
That's right.
So just at minimum of 5,000 pesos, you can build a fortune already 20 years from today. Or if they are thinking about their children's education, they can invest for their children on a peso cost average, the same thing. Or if they ever have a plan to save money for their dream houses.
Yes.
And from there, what they do is they just buy good companies that pay good dividends.
Yes.
And over time, doing a peso cost average,
it will happen.
It will happen. The statistics is still there. The biggest problem always is the discipline, wherein would they be able to continue doing the
saving 5,000 pesos, for example, a month
on a monthly basis. And only when they have that discipline, and of course sometimes because it will be worth a lot of money already, they might decide to just spend it, right? So I think what is really the key is that they have to have the discipline to be able to continue doing it over a period of time.
So Edward, in your years of experience, you've been doing the stock market for the past 30 years.
35 years.
35 years.
That's right.
Unbelievable. 35 years of doing the stock market, you've seen that play out, the 85% who lose the money, 15% who earn the money. And because of that reflection, you're now telling the first-time investors, first-time investors, do it this way. Because if you do it this way, you'll be part of the 15.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
Because we used to teach timing the market, trying to understand the psychology of markets.
You still do teach.
We still do that. Yes, we still do that.
For first-timers.
For first-timer, I think really the best is because they are so afraid, because they think that it's a gambling place.
Yes.
I think the best method really is to use that peso cost averaging Then, if they have some time,
Yeah.
they have extra cash,
Yeah.
they want to learn the timing the market,
Yeah.
learning the psychology of the market,
Yeah.
then they're welcome to learn that, because that's
Yeah.
what we teach also.
All right.
Because for us, our group basically is we do both, no?
Yes.
We do peso cost averaging for our
Yeah.
children,
Yeah.
grandchildren. Of course,
Okay.
I'm old already. And on our own portfolio, we teach basically
Yeah.
how to time the market,
Okay.
and we teach that to a group of our traders basically who does that for us.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Edward. There are two kinds of people who play the stock market, or who get into the stock market. One is the investor, the long-term investor.
That's correct.
Who puts money every month, whether the market is up, whether the market is down.
Yes,
He
that's correct.
chooses great companies
That's
and
correct.
puts it every month. The second type of person is the trader.
That's correct.
He's
The
one
active
who-
investor.
The active investor. He's the one who times the market.
That's
he buys when it's low. He sells when it's high. I'm right. Am I right?
Yes, it is right. Buy low, sell high in bottoming out markets, because
Yeah.
what happens is that you have to learn how to distinguish the different market cycle
Yes.
or economic cycle and do different strategies during
Okay.
those periods.
Okay. So Edward, have you met people who did peso cost averaging and became winners after many years?
Yes, you remember we had lunch with a commissioner of the
Yes.
SEC,
Yes.
Jenny Cueto, no?
That's right.
And she was sharing with us, I think if you remember that what her father did when she was born, what the father did was to open not a bank account, but a stock brokerage account.
Most people do that when their baby is born, or maybe when the baby's 3, 4, 5 years old. You know, they open a bank account.
That's correct. That's correct. That's a standard.
But the father of commissioner,
Yes.
he just didn't do that. He bought a.
Yes, what he did was at that time he bought San Miguel shares for
Yes.
Jenny, no?
Yes.
And for 18 years, after 18 years, when she had her debut, he gave her the stocks, the SMC stocks,
Yeah.
which was worth a lot of money, and told her that to sell whenever she needs it for her education.
Wow.
Yes, you remember that? Huh?
That's
When she
right.
was yes, that's right.
He didn't only buy once. He kept on buying.
That's right. That's
He
right.
kept on buying as the daughter grew up,
That's correct. That's
and in
correct.
small amounts, you know.
Small amounts only. Yes.
But at the age of 18, gave it all
Gave
to
it
her
all.
and said,
Yeah, that's for her education
That's for your
already.
college. That's for
That's
your.
right. Spend when you need it. That's right.
incredible.
That's
But that was during the time when San Miguel was still strong.
Yes, that's
and-
correct.
yeah.
That's correct. Today, I think there are a lot of good companies,
Yes.
which basically our analysts have summarized. No?
That's right.
So some of the stocks which we're looking at is
Yeah.
really Ayala Land,
Yeah.
BPI,
That's right.
SM Prime,
That's right.
Jollibee,
Yeah.
Telephone.
These are strong companies that you
right.
think will last for the next 50 years,
50 to 100
the
years,
next
that's
100
correct.
years, and so you do the peso cost averaging, and what you're saying, Edward, is that you put your money, you buy small amounts
That's
every
correct,
month,
yes.
or it requires discipline,
That's correct. That's really the drawback. No? If this is what we're offering is a self-directed
Yeah.
kind of retirement or
Yeah.
for your children's education.
That's
So
right.
I think the investor has to have that discipline, no?
Yeah.
In order for them to achieve a lifelong.
Yeah.
So at least by 20 years from today, they have some
Yeah.
life savings, no, wherein
right.
they can hang on. Or the children will have to be. They don't have to worry about where they're going to get money for their children's
right.
education.
That's right.
That requires a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
The only problem with doing it, let's say with retirement or
Yeah.
pension funds or insurance to do all these things, is that if you miss payments,
Yeah.
you have to have that discipline, because if you miss payments, you're going to lose the whole principal. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
So of course, by the threat of losing that principal,
Yeah.
you have that discipline
Yeah.
over time.
If it's insurance or if it's these pension funds,
That's
right.
correct. That's correct.
But here, if you invest directly in the stock market,
That's
which
correct.
you and I are encouraging people
That's
to
right.
do, there is no threat.
There is no threat of losing the principal, but
Yeah.
the threat there is that you might not have the discipline to do it consistently,
Yes.
which is required so that it can work. No?
That's right.
Without doing the monthly
Yeah.
dollar peso cost averaging,
Yeah.
what will happen is that from time to time, you will miss probably the best opportunity to be able to buy when the prices are going down.
Yeah.
And that's really the drawback. No? A lot of people get scared when prices are going down.
But
so
they shouldn't.
They shouldn't. They should be able to consistently put the money in so that they can buy more shares during when prices are down.
Yeah. When there's, as you said, I heard this from you, Edward. When there's blood in the street,
that's right.
Keep on putting your 5,000 in.
That's right. That's right. That's right. The funny part is most people are scared when the market is really collapsing, which we do not blame them because that's very normal. Yeah. But when you are planning for your future and you design a program already, then you should not be afraid.
That's right.
And the money is a very small amount. It's not really a big amount. You're not putting 100% or borrowing 200%. You're just putting maybe 10, 20% of your savings. Put it in the market consistently, and over time, you will benefit out of it.
Wow. You know, I learned that from you, Edward. When I got to know you, then I got to know Citysec Online. I opened an account for Citysec. It's an online brokerage, and so I put my money there, and then every so often I would put my money in. And it's funny because I think I absorbed that whole philosophy so much that when things are down, when the stocks are down, I'm happy.
Yes, that's correct.
Because I have no plans of selling.
That's correct.
It's a peso cost average for my future.
That's right.
So when the stocks are down, I'm happy because hey, my little amount of money that
will buy more shares.
Will buy more shares.
That's correct.
And and when the stocks are up, it's going to multiply.
That's correct. That's correct. I think what is really important is because you understand the process and you have the discipline to do it on a month-to-month basis, which is really required. Because if you deviate from that, what will happen is the result will, of course, totally be different. No?
That's right.
But what is important here is that they start learning and understanding these companies, what the stock market is all about. This is the most important. Because if they do not understand how to invest in the stock market, what will happen is that they will always be dependent on the bank and getting their very small interest, which over time, basically, they will probably lose it also. Because a lot of people that I've met, what they say is, the bank is just paying me 3-4%. I'm just, why don't I do this? Why don't I do that? And eventually, they just lose the whole principle.
They just lose the whole.
That's correct. That's really the problem. No? That's the problem. And I think the banks basically also have to not really teach them how to do that. Because if they teach them how to do it, then they'll lose their business also. See, so there's something to it always. No?
You know, something came to my mind because you were telling me about your friend who worked in China Bank.
That's correct. Yes.
And he worked there for 8 years.
8 years, yes.
And then he left the Philippines.
That's correct.
But while working in China Bank, he bought stocks of China Bank
shares. That's correct.
And then he went to the States for 23 years.
Yes, that's correct.
And when he came back,
it was worth millions.
It was worth millions.
That's correct. That's without peso cost averaging, because
he just put his money there a long time ago.
Yes, that's correct. It's the same with your Pepe Pilar story, right?
Yeah.
You put it in 8 years, then you left for 22 years, come back, it's worth a lot of money. Amazing. It's the same story. It's the same thing as what you talk about.
And you know what made me realize, Edward, is instead of putting your money in a bank as deposits, why not put your money in the bank by owning the bank?
That's correct. That's very good. Because then, like what you talk also in your book, is that now what happened is that the bank is working for you. Right? I mean, if you are an investor of, let's say, BPI or investor of BDO or Metrobank, instead of putting the money in the bank, you just buy their shares. Buy it consistently on a monthly basis, on a peso cost averaging, and basically they're all working for you.
And as long as you choose the good banks.
That's correct. That pay cash dividends.
That pay the cash dividends and the really maybe the top three or whatever. I mean,
and from there, what happened is that you have to reinvest the cash dividend, which you get from the bank yearly or quarterly. Then you reinvest it into it. Once you reinvest it, that is the effect of the compounding.
Wonderful.
The compounding effect is there.
Which is so easy to do in an online environment like Citysec Online. So Edward, if somebody wants to open an account through in Citysec Online, what does he have to do? Just go to the website?
Yes, it's www.citiseconline.com and just
CITISECO.
Yes.
Okay.
Online. Yes, that's right. .com. And basically, we just go to the website, download the application form. join our free seminars.
Yep.
And from there, everything is there. You want to be a passive investor. You want to start without any knowledge. You can learn how to invest wisely in the market. And then from there, they want to do peso cost averaging. There's a free seminar, 1-hour seminar. They can learn from it. Yeah. Now, after several months or several years, if they want to be an active investor, they can join our technical analysis seminar.
Yeah, you could do that. Right.
There's basic courses there. There's advanced courses there. And from our website, you can see a lot of research material which they can learn. If they don't understand, they can always join our seminars. And from there, you know.
I really love bringing this information out, Edward, because so many people are afraid of the stock market. So many people just want to put their money in the bank, and the inflation is going to eat their money.
That's correct. Yes.
You know, their 1 peso today will not be able to buy what we're buying now. Next year, 2 years, 5 years from now. So my heart really goes out for them. But if we can bring this very simple information out, like if you can save 5,000 pesos a month.
Yes.
You can enroll into this, and you'll tell them, you know, the CitySec Online will tell them, here are the 5 or so companies that you can put into every single month. And
that's correct.
It's gonna work for you.
What you said a while ago was really good. Instead of putting your money in the bank, just put your money in the bank that makes billions every year. Yeah. And from there, over time, consistently
buy their shares.
Buy their shares, and over time, it will be worth a lot of money. It's good for your retirement.
That's great.
Yes.
Yes. So Edward, the stock market has been good to you.
That's correct.
The past 35 years, you're now. I'll not divulge how much money you have. I have an idea, but God has been blessing you through the stock market, and but you've also been a businessman. You run businesses, which is, and there are many people listening right now. They want to get into the stock market, so we gave them some information there. They also want to have their own businesses maybe one day.
That's correct.
Some of them are running their small businesses now. Can you give us strategies, tips? How can we become successful like you, Edward?
I think what is really important is that, if they read your books, basically, the Truly Rich books, which I've read also, and inside that, you would see a lot of things that you need to do. One is that basically you have to learn how to think big, no? Think of dreaming. That's very important. You have to have a vision. You have to have your dreams, so that you'll be able to. That is already your plan. In other words, you have an idea where you want to go, and basically process it. How you're gonna achieve that. Yeah. But of course, I get invited from your financial talks from time to time, and I try to share with them what has been the basic principle, the basic values that I have imparted to most of the times that when people ask me about it. And of course, I talk about that you have to have a good relationship, not only to first of course to your people, then to your customers, then to your suppliers. That's right. The reason behind it is it's really very important, because if you keep a good relationship with them, what will happen is from good times, bad times, they will be there for you. That's the most important. Wow. When you're building a business, there will be a lot of times that you will have difficulties. Yeah. And when you have people when you have a good relationship with these people will stay with you. Yes. Right? Will help you out. Like I remember in 1983, 84, when the devaluation came, I had some suppliers credit that I owe a lot, no? In Japanese yen and in US dollars. And from there, my Japanese supplier came to see me, and I told him, I said, Mr. Yoshikawa, I really cannot pay you. Yes. He said, don't worry, Edward. I will restructure you. I will help you. Wow. And sure enough, 6 months later, after the restructuring, I was able to pay him back. Fantastic. Because these are things that are really important. I think what is there is that you're honest to your supplier. Yeah. You're honest to your customer. Yeah. If you let's say, for example, I have some customers that I had some problems with deliveries or with installation. Yeah. I think what is really important is that you have to be honest with them. Yeah. Face the problem. Yeah. And just don't nowhere to look for you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's really important that you face the problem and you work with them, work out what is really the problem,
right.
and
That's right.
and do it and provide that service which they want. No?
Fantastic.
Once you have those kind of relationship, then I think business will just continue to grow.
Fantastic. What I admire about you, Edward, is the way you value and the way you maintain and invest in your relationships. You would tell me that the partners that you have right now in your business, you've known for the past, since you were 19 years old.
That's correct. They are my classmate.
Incredible.
One is my high school classmate, my partner. Is the other one is my college batchmate. No? Both of them are still my partners today.
Yeah.
We've been together this is our 30th year in business. Yes, and we're very, very lucky because we started with 50,000 pesos each.
Woo!
Yeah, so that was 30 years ago. And today we're still together. And,
and the 50,000 has become billions.
Yeah, over time, yes.
But Edward, how do you do that? I mean, I've heard of so many terrible stories of partners that have separated ways with a lot of bitterness. And,
yes, that's correct.
How did you do it? You talk about relationships. You said, relationships is very important, but how?
Well, I think from the very beginning when we started the business, we discussed already what are the proper things to do. And we were thinking also that a lot of times what happens is, like you were saying, that a lot of people, partners just go separate ways. No? But what they don't really understand is that when the policy is set, like I think I shared with you about paying 20% to the management team, declaring 20% cash dividend to your shareholders, 60% reinvested into the business or other businesses. The secret is really the 60% that is being reinvested into the company.
Wow.
People don't understand that that's the secret. It's the compounding effect of the 60%, which yearly you save, and it will increase your network. No?
That's right.
Because a lot of times, when everybody's making a lot of money, what they will do is they declare 100% cash dividend. I think that's really a drawback. That's not an advantage, no? The advantage really is to be able to save 60% and reinvest it in other businesses. Either the same business you think you can expand, or you buy other businesses, or you do an R&D using the 60% to do your R&D, and build your organization.
Wow.
The secret really is the 60%.
Wow.
In reinvested, and that's why we are here today.
That's great.
The money that we have reinvested is really the money that we've made is basically from the reinvestment of the 60%. And each one of them has to understand that, well, at least the one who's managing, like me, if I'm managing, I have to basically think also like the other two partners who are, let's say, I call them the silent majority. No? We have to satisfy them also. And the most important really is that you have to have, like the second one is the integrity part. Because
absolutely.
If you don't have the integrity, it will never work. Because a lot of times, most people, they quarrel mainly because the managing director believes that he's the one that solves everything, that makes all the money. He doesn't understand that without the contribution of your partners, there is no way that you will be able to make it. No? And that's really the problem with most partnership, because they don't understand that the importance of the other two. For example, if I think that I was the only one that made all the money, then I probably would have bought them out 28 years ago. Right after making money for the first, second, third year, I would have just told them, look guys, since I'm the one that's making all the money, you guys are just silent majority. I'll just take you out. If I have that kind of a mentality, I will never be where I am today.
Wow.
I think that's very important.
That's right.
Because the one who is running the show has to understand the importance of the other silent majorities, the silent partners who basically are there for you during difficult times.
That's right.
That's right. That's the most important.
Beautiful.
Not even the money itself.
No.
Just the emotional support during difficult times.
Woo. That's great.
That's the secret of it.
Amazing.
That's the secret of it.
Edward, you've gone through so many rough times in the past 30 years. And these partners have been there with you, they're friends, and there's such a level of commitment. I'm sure you've gone through so many conflicts also.
Of course.
But you've weathered all that. I think it's because the way a person of integrity, they trust you, and which is the foundation of all relationships.
Of
trust.
course, yes.
When you trust people, even if sometimes you think differently or you go through the conflict, that trust
it's very important.
Is one that holds you together.
And I think I've shared with you also that if you are the one who is the patriarch, you have to be fair.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
And by being fair alone, it's not enough. You have to how do you say this? You have to lose in order for you to gain their confidence.
That's right.
Really lose. A little bit of how do you say this?
In Tagalog, we say magpalamang or
in a way, something like that. No, wherein you have to take in order for you to be fair, you have to take
the smaller share.
The smaller share.
Yeah.
Not really a smaller share, but just to be able to let everybody see that you're taking a much smaller pie.
Yeah.
As compared to the rest of the people. No? That's where you'll be able to hold on to everybody. Because they would say that, baka lamang ka palagi, ikaw ang lamang, ikaw ang humahawak ng negosyo. Now that you're running the business, so you're taking advantage of it. No?
Yeah.
You should always think that, you always be prepared that, you should always be in the losing end. No?
I learned that. That's my big lesson from you, Edward. When a perfect example that you gave is that when you have siblings, many siblings fight for inheritance.
That's correct.
And one of the ways of avoiding that is when the eldest of the siblings or the leader of the siblings makes a decision and say, okay, thinks of the others, other siblings, and say it. I think if he just says, okay, let's equally divide everything, there'll be more conflicts.
That's correct.
But if he says no, why don't the best goes to my other siblings?
That's right.
And when there's a sacrifice.
I think the word is a sacrifice. Yeah. Yes. You have the patriarch or the eldest of the family has to always sacrifice for the siblings. Yeah. Then everything will be okay.
Yeah.
So it's a process.
Amazing.
It's a process. Yes.
And it works not only in families, it works in business partnerships.
That's correct.
Yeah, man. That's what I learned from you. It's so easy to be ruthless and to be selfish and shrewd, but then what kind of life is that?
That's correct.
You get all the money, but you have so many enemies.
Well, I always say that you can have all the money in the world. If you're going to lose your soul, then it's not worth it.
Yeah. And it'll be very lonely, very terribly lonely. You won't have friends. you have all the money. You have all.
I think the biggest problem there is that you have to choose what kind of life you want.
Yes.
If you choose a life that basically you only think of yourself, then everything it will be very limited. You cannot grow. Yeah. But if you think of looking at it from the perspective of being responsible for a lot of your partners, the people that work for you, the people around you, your environment, then life would be more exciting. You would love life more. You would be excited more of the time, rather than be bored and just playing golf and not really doing anything, not contributing, giving back to society.
Right. Thank you, Edward.
Yes.
Wisdom from the man.
Thank you.
From my mentor. There you have it, brothers and sisters. That's Edward Lee, and I've learned so much from you, Edward, and thank you. And if there's one of the major things I learned from you, it's just choosing a life of integrity, a life of relationships.
That's correct.
If you want to be happy, invest in relationships.
That's correct.
Thank you, Edward, for investing in your relationship with me.
Okay, thank you very much. My pleasure.
The many times we'd had lunch over this past year has enriched me so much. And thank you.
My pleasure. Okay, bye.
Thank you, Edward. There you have it, Edward Lee, and I hope you learned today.